Well, hey there, beautiful collective. Welcome into your reading for today. I hope you're having a fine day today. Just going to cleanse the space here a little bit with some Palo Santo. Hopefully, you're surviving the energies that are around in the collective right now. Oops, it's been a bit of a doozy. Oh, I'm gonna have to wash my crystal off now. It's been interesting. Now, if you didn't get a chance to see the previous message, that was what was coming into your life, all the good stuff, as well as, some of the not so great stuff. But yeah, you might want to check that one out. Today's reading is going to be, just give me 1 second here. So, today's reading is going to be what is leaving your life, what cycles are ending, what's closing out in your life, maybe what chapters you're closing out, because I mean, some of these cycles can be pretty long. Some of them may be more short term, but we're just going to get the tea on what's going on in the collective and get an idea of what we are closing out, what's soon to be leaving, okay? We're in the midst of leaving right now. So we're going to start off with the energy oracle cards. I do want to just say that obviously, when you're watching any kind of reading, don't force any story to fit. If it's not yours, leave it for somebody else. Take what resonates, leave the rest. And there may be parts of it that resonate with you and other parts that don't. So just leave those for somebody else. That may not be part of your story. All right. Oh, didn't even ask the question yet. We've got walking away. Okay, Spirit. What? Let's see here. What's the question? What is the collective currently closing out? What cycles are the collective currently closing out? What are the cycles? So, healer of the ages, first chakra. Okay. Okay, so we have walking away, and then we have first chakra, Archangel Michael. That would be your root chakra. Okay. That's to do with your safety and security, feeling safe. And third chakra, Archangel Chamuel. This is about your confidence and your worthiness. And then we have Healer of the Ages. All right, Spirit. What is the message here that you'd like me to convey to the collective? Okay, so the first thing that I got from this, or that I'm getting right now from Spirit, is that many of you in the collective are walking away from anything that is destabilizing you emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. There's been a lot to do with the root chakra and your security, right? Feeling safe within yourself, feeling safe within relationship with other, feeling safe in community, feeling safe at jobs, in the environment. But the biggest thing is that I'm seeing here, because it's with the third chakra as well, Archangel Chamuel, is that you are currently closing out old wounds that are going on within your root chakra as well as your solar plexus chakra. And because we've got the healer of the ages, it tells me that you're currently walking away from anything that is no longer supporting you, and anything that may be harmful to you. Now, this could be thought patterns, this could be emotions, this could be like self-depreciation. This could also be from other people or from environments, anywhere where you're not valued, anything that may be jeopardizing your your safety and security in any way, shape, or form. This could have to do again with a job. So maybe you're not being valued at your job. And so you're currently working on creating more safety and security within yourself. And it seems as though that whatever has been coming up lately has destabilized you in some way, but it was meant as a spiritual awakening. It was meant to be a teacher for you, right? So assessing, when you're probably in that energy right now where you're asking yourself, like, why is this showing up? What is the lesson that I need to be learning from this? And so there's a lot going on in the collective right now with this destabilization of that energy that has just come in recently that is affecting or shaking your confidence. And it seems to me that some of you may be considering even walking away from the spiritual journey, period, wondering what it's all for, like what you've done this all for. So there may be some regret, there may be some shame or guilty feelings that might be coming up right now, given that I'm really picking up heavily on this destabilizing energy that has really shook you to your core, right? Um, and kind of like rocked your confidence is what I'm getting. So given that this is coming through as it is for some of you in the collective, I am getting that you are either you're at a decision point to either heal these wounds right here, that you might be in the process of doing right now, or questioning or wondering why you're feeling this way or what the lesson is, and you're at a choice point whether to continue or to walk away. And for others of you, you are actually working on the healing aspect of these wounds, and you're no longer going to tolerate anything that is going to destabilize you, including the things that you might be doing to yourself, right? Self sabotage. That's coming through pretty significantly right now. So, some of you take it as it resonates, whatever story is yours. If that's not your story, then this part may not be for you, but I am getting a lot that you're being faced with an opportunity right now to be able to heal these two wounds, and they are core wounds from what I'm hearing from spirit. So, anything to do with your root chakra is definitely a core wound. Same with your confidence being shaken because of this wounding. And I do see that he's carrying a knife, and in this, it appears as protection, but for some reason, I'm getting like this feeling as though you've been stabbed in the back, and that may have been by your own doing, right? Self-sabotage is coming through here. And so, in this representation, that's kind of what I'm getting more so like you're feeling a need to protect yourself more than normal. And that is because these two are working in tandem with each other. And the energy is essentially just trying to convey a deeper message of illumination as to what's going on within you at this time. So, I'm hearing, don't give up. You're being supported, and you are loved dearly. And you can ask for additional support should you need it. You can call on Archangel Michael as well as Archangel Chamuel to help you with the healing of these chakras and these wounds that are surfacing because of whatever experience you're having currently in your life. All right. Spirit, what kind of changes actually, let's see here. What's the question? What's leaving the collective's life right now? Okay, that one. That was fast. Yeah, keep the faith. Okay, so your faith is definitely being tested right now, or it has been over the last few days, and that's intentionally, from what I'm hearing. This is happening to strengthen your faith in a sense. So, again, this walking away feeling that I got, this channeling about walking away from the path itself. Um, this, in a sense, is to test your faith because you have been getting really close to stepping into a much higher version of yourself. And so this is, in a sense, a test of faith within yourself. So, what I was picking up on before was this shaking of your foundation, right? And your foundation being the place where you build everything else on top of. And so there may be something coming through where, because of past wounding, there's some step or some wound that wasn't fully healed in your foundation, and your root chakra being your foundation, right? So there is something likely still there that's causing you um, to feel less confident in yourself or in others or the world around you or all together. Take it as it resonates for you and your story, but there is some aspect of your foundation that needs to be corrected, and that's why you're being brought here, is because it's not to make you lose your faith, it's to show you something about your foundation that was faulty, because you can't build on top of a faulty foundation. Everything will collapse, and that's kind of the energy that I'm seeing here is that things are collapsing, and it's for your benefit. So it's collapsing not to make you walk away, even though you are questioning your path, questioning your faith in, like I said, yourself or others or the world or everything. But this is designed in order to reveal what's faulty in your own foundation, because it's this one thing or maybe a couple of things in your foundation that is causing you to feel a lack of confidence. That's destabilizing your confidence. And so, in order to have that really strong foundation that you can build everything else on top of, this one thing just needs to be addressed, which will improve your self confidence, right? And allow you to walk in faith and heal that aspect of yourself so that, you know, you'll be able to build properly, is what I'm hearing. So, keeping the faith, that's either a choice point that you're at right now, or something you've been struggling with, or it's in the near future that this is happening for you. So, okay. What what other things are coming to a close? What cycles are closing out in collective energy right now, Spirit? Get a couple cards here. What cycles are closing out in collective currently? Mhm. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the first card that came out was dietary changes. We got that in the last reading, I think, too. This one's been coming out a lot. So there is a lot going on with regards to people's possibly eating habits or health habits. So it looks as though that within the collective, people are recognizing their own value and their worth, and deciding that, it's that you're worth more than what it is that you're doing to yourself on a physical level. And because of dietary changes, I'm assuming this has to do with things that you're consuming or putting into the body. And what this is saying to me is that many people are starting to wake up to the fact that, without your body, without your health, that's part of your foundation as well, right? So this is part of the thing that you need to build upon as well. So I'm seeing that the struggle with that concept, with this understanding of it being necessary for you to make changes in order to make space and make way for better things to be built. higher vibrations to come in, more energy to come in, just better health in general. All of these things are tied into your foundation as well. And so it looks as though that this struggle to maintain these changes. So there may have been a lot of like going back and forth, or maybe there were patterns that are tied into this that weren't quite recognized or accepted as being the trigger points for whatever um, dietary choices you were making previously. And so it looks as though acceptance has been coming into this picture, and dietary changes are becoming now just a part of your routine, a part of your self love, and a part of recognizing that it's the foundation for everything else that you build. Because if you don't have a strong body or strong health, then you cannot build anything else, right? You just get burnt out. You're feeling exhausted all the time. You may have health issues. So it looks like there may be recognition in whatever it is that you've been putting into the body has been contributing to negative health in some way, shape, or form. That could even be mental health because, again, your gut controls a lot of the chemicals that are released to make you happy or to keep your mind clear or to allow you to be emotionally regulated. If you're putting things into your body that are full of chemicals or toxins or maybe affecting you on a health level, then it's actually affecting you on all levels, right? So that's something that seems to be changing, and these cycles are starting to close out. So there's been some healing in the collective, is what this is telling me, on those cycles. And these could be affecting your three lower chakras, because that's generally um, when we are avoiding our emotions and things when it comes to food, then that's generally where our wounds are, which might be triggering or had been triggering these things, or maybe it was just not in the awareness, right? So another thing that is closing out, cycles that are closing out, are specific relationship dynamics. So that is good. That's excellent news. It looks like healing is being done. Again, specific relationships such as long-term relationships that may have been toxic or negative for you, or familial relationships or generational patterns and things like that. Uh, this could also indicate your relationship with yourself changing, right? And so for some of you, and well, for probably everybody in the collective in some way, shape, or form, relationship dynamics are closing out. So a lot of people have been taking the advice that's been coming through in the collective, which is really great. Um, there was a lot about not engaging in that argumentative energy, closing out cycles with possibly family members, with old friends, with exes, with all kinds of different people. And so it looks like there is some success coming in. A lot of things are closing out, and this is not just on a physical level, from what I'm hearing. This is an emotional level, a spiritual level. So this could also be part of what is rocking the foundation right now. Is there may be, given this solar plexus card coming out, that could be anxiety and fear because of closing out certain cycles, right? But that is a good thing because it's allowing you to understand what the root cause of that fear and this anxiety is, right? So that you can work through that. And it might be triggering other things, right? So, like this and the fear and anxiety that you're feeling might be triggering, say, dietary issues or ways in which you treat yourself, right? And then we have windfall. So I'm not sure how that really pertains. So just give me a moment here because I'm going to ask Spirit on this one to channel more specifically. Oh, okay. So this card. with regards to this message that is coming through, Spirit's saying that this isn't like receiving a windfall. This is more like reliance on others. And it doesn't have to just be in one respect, right? Because a lot of people immediately, when they say see windfall, they're like, oh, money. It's not always money. It's energetically as well. It's emotionally. It's spiritually. It can be financially, but it seems as though you're closing out these cycles of reliance. So there may be some codependent traits that you have been working on or recognizing as being codependent, or by closing out certain relationship dynamics and making changes in your physical body or for you from love rather than from shame or guilt or um, any of those lower vibrational emotions. It seems as though you are closing out the chapter on relying on external sources for your validation or for your survival. And so it seems to me like this whole situation down here that we talked about in the beginning has come in to illuminate all of this for you, um, that you actually have the strength and the capacity to rely on yourself, and that you should not be looking outside of yourself for validation in any way, shape, or form. So whatever has come into your life to shake your foundation up, that's happening for you to show you that the only person that you should be relying on is yourself. And that would be on all levels, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially. I think that's all of them. But it's to show you that it's only you. Everything outside of you is just a reflection of what's inside of you. And so some of you may have been looking for validation outside of yourself, or you may have been relying on something or someone which is outside of yourself. And that has put you in a position possibly where you are now having a hard time keeping the faith, not sure what to believe in, not sure what direction to go into. And Spirit's really saying, like, this this had to happen to reveal this to you. And it's actually a good thing because Spirit really is wanting you to build that bond within yourself, to give yourself the validation, to give yourself the security and the safety that you need to provide for yourself all of your needs emotionally, physically, financially, mentally, emotionally. So it looks like a bunch of cycles with regards to how you have been relying on everyone or everything outside of yourself is shifting. And that's what this whole thing has been about. It's come into your life in order to shift that and to bring into your awareness what the core of the lesson is, right? And so this is for your own independence, and it's here to heal your foundation, and perhaps just a perspective change on that will help you or help illuminate that for you. All right. What other cycles is the collective closing out at this time? Mm, okay. So we've got seeking and finding. Okay, so this is one of those addictive behaviors, right? And again, this comes down to validation, kind of what I was just saying with this windfall. This is about when I see these cards together, I'm really seeing the solar plexus, right? That fear and anxiety, a fear of the unknown, fear of the future, feeling insecure. And seeking and finding may have been one of those patterns of behavior that you used to provide you with safety and security. But the problem is that you're looking outside of yourself for that. You're looking for validation from the outside world or something external to you. And it seems to me like in the collective, what's really going on is that people are starting to recognize that there is no power in looking outside of yourself for anything. how to reclaim your power is to really just look within for those answers. And even though it's uncomfortable, even though you may be feeling anxiety or fear about the future or what's to come, um, not knowing if you're going to make it through this, right? This whole faith thing, um, that you're understanding how this seeking and finding pattern and behavior ties into self-sabotage and ties into creating more fear rather than sitting with the fear and the anxiety and the uncomfortableness of those feelings and truly understanding that they're coming from a wounded part of you from childhood, likely, or a wounded part of you that's happened in your life that has created this. Generally, it is in childhood with to do with a rocky foundation to begin with, right, in your family. But often these patterns go unseen, and we may have been covering up our anxiety with other things, right? We've been seeking and finding other sources of avoidance, other ways of distracting ourselves, validation. Let's see. It could be also addictions. It could be any kind of thing that you would use to avoid the anxiety and the fear itself. And so it seems to me that people are starting to recognize this, or this is your validation right now, that you're seeing how this pattern actually plays out in your life, right? So you might have been trying to cover it up, and then your fear and anxiety about the unknown and the future or what's going on in your life may have overtaken you at some point, and it's gotten you into a position where you're now seeing all of these things play out, but it's also shook up your foundation to some degree so that you can become aware of the original source of this pattern and why you feel you need to seek or find or hide or avoid why this pattern has emerged, right? And so, given that it's in the root chakra, um, that is to do with your safety and security. So, whatever's going on in your life right now is clearly happening for a reason, right? Like, Source doesn't want to punish anybody. So, if you're feeling as though your roots are shaken or your foundation is shaken or you can't rely on what's coming in next because you don't know if you're going to make it from month to month, whatever it is, um, this has come in to illuminate this pattern where you clearly felt this way in childhood because I am seeing this root chakra and your solar plexus, right? So when you have insecurity in, let's say, resources physically, so you grew up possibly in poverty or moved a lot or never knew if you were going to be able to eat or didn't know if you would be able to have clothes next year, or it could be a lot of things, or you grew up with emotional resources lacking, or both. So, whatever it was that you grew up with is what created the seeking and finding and the avoidance of sitting in the discomfort of that fear. Because when we experience that kind of lack in childhood, it does affect us emotionally and it creates insecurity in our finances, right? Like a lack mentality. It creates insecurity within our environments, within our ability to keep trust and faith in the path ahead and in possible change. Like it's hard. How do I explain that, Spirit? It's hard to remain in faith, they're saying, when you have experienced so much of the opposite telling you otherwise, but it's stored in a childhood pattern and belief system. And so the seeking and finding pattern, um, looking outside of yourself for the answers, for the validation, for recognition, for love, whatever it is for you, that's what's being illuminated here. And they want you to heal that, right? Which is going to restore your confidence, not only in yourself, first yourself, but in the divine and in your divine path. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, new exercise program. That's an interesting card. I'm not sure if that was supposed to come out, but I'll ask Spirit here. I heard no. Okay. The two kind of came out together. I get that a lot because my cards get bent from the way that I have to shuffle them. So I have small hands, so I shuffle them this way, you know? But then they get bent and I get lots of cards coming up. So Spirit, do you want me to continue with this deck or move on? Okay, message has been conveyed there. I'm going to have some water. Okay, now let's get a little tea here. All right, Spirit. Um, what is the collective? What's ending in the collective's life right now? What's ending in the collective's life right now? This deck is so huge. I think I'm going to split it in half and then do it that way. Because again, my hands are small. What's ending in the collective's life right now? What's leaving their life? What's ending? What's leaving? Who's leaving? Who? What? Who's leaving the collective's life, please? Mixed signals. Okay. What else is leaving? Who or what is leaving the collective's life right now or in the very near future? Okay. Talking, playing games. Mm. Who or what is leaving the collective's life now or in the near future? Who or what is leaving the collective's life now or in the near future, please, Spirit? Who or what is leaving the collective? Thank you. Ah, okay. So we've got mixed signals. Okay, so for some of you, you have been receiving mixed signals or you've been with people. And again, doesn't matter what kind of relationship that is. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but you've been in relationship with people where you attracted typically because of your wounding, you attracted people who gave you mixed signals. For some of you, people who like to give you the silent treatment and play games, right? So you're pretty much done with anybody who cannot clearly communicate their needs, their wants, their desires, who doesn't uphold integrity, love, honor, anybody who likes to play games with you emotionally. So that would be your emotional manipulators, mental manipulators, people who play games just to wreak havoc in your life. Anybody who's creating chaos in your life, from what I'm hearing, you are done with that. That is either leaving now or ending now, or it has, or it is in the near future closing out. So you're closing out cycles. around that. So the other thing that we got is fated to be alone. So it has been a long journey for many of us, right? And many of us, after feeling wounded, what do? We isolate ourselves, we retreat so that we can heal. And that's a natural part of the healing process, right? But when you're on a spiritual journey, that's taken to a whole new level. And so it seems to me that either now or in the near future, this idea that you've had that you are, I guess, meant to be alone for the rest of your life, or that you could never open your heart, or maybe you have this feeling like everybody out there is so messed up. I don't want to get close to anybody. So clearly, take it as it resonates, but clearly in the collective, there's been many of you who have been feeling as though you may be alone for the rest of your life. And so, this idea that you are fated to be alone is going to be closing out as you begin to heal these last parts of your foundation, right? And because these relationship dynamics are closing and ending, and you are putting a stop and no longer tolerating these kinds of behaviors, that is going to help you heal your heart. And so, Spirit is really here to say, like, this idea that you are meant to be alone, or these thoughts that you have in your mind about um, not wanting to be with anybody else because you're scared of being hurt again. These things are coming to an end. You're probably receiving some support in that respect as well, from your spirit team, from the divine, and that there may be somebody actually in the future coming in, whether that is a friend or a romantic kind of relationship. It seems as though either by yourself or with help from the divine, you are coming to this conclusion that, by closing these cycles and allowing your heart to heal and working on the last little bits of that, and having strong ideas and values of what you want in your life and what you're no longer willing to tolerate, seems to me that this idea is going to shift within you as well, right? And that's a good thing. Okay, Spirit, who or what is leaving the collective at this time or in the near future? Who or what? That could be energetically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. Who or what is leaving the collective now or in the near future? Mm. The other thing I just heard was you're done with runners. You're done with people who don't prioritize you. You're done with people who don't reciprocate the same amount. You're learning what reciprocation it should look like. You're matching other people. You're only giving what they give and not more. So learning some really strong boundaries around these mixed signals and what they look like. And you're not allowing anybody to breadcrumb you. Oh, that was way too many words. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess we're just gonna go with it. Okay, so for some of you, you have chosen to close out the cycle around ABUSE. So you're no longer going to tolerate that, and that's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that for you guys, that you've closed out these cycles, and these relationship dynamics likely have to do with this cycle here as well. So for many of you in the collective, we've all been going through um, similar experiences around these things, and so I guess it doesn't surprise me that this is coming out, but this is not just from other people. This whole path has been designed to show you how we have been conditioned to tolerate this kind of thing, right? How we have been conditioned to allow others into our lives who are going to treat us in this way, and how we may have enabled our own experiences, right? And not only enabled our own experiences, but how we may have been doing it to ourselves as well. So that's a beautiful thing. And I do see that with these dietary changes and seeking and finding, these are like self-sabotaging behaviors, right? So I'm getting for much of you in the collective that it's a twofold situation, that it's both how you allowed yourself to treat yourself, but also how you allowed others. And by standing up for yourself, you're learning what it looks like and what it looks like within your own life as well, and what you were enabling and not enabling. So that's amazing that many of you are closing out that cycle. I've also got fear of loneliness. So many of you are no longer afraid of being alone. And generally, this is a part of codependency. When you have a deep insecurity about being left alone, it generally has to do with part of your attachment style, not all of it, but part of it. Um, and so you may be on the more anxious side of things. And so this fear of being alone can come from codependency, and it can come from your attachment styles from childhood. So if you experienced a lot of neglect or this here, let me go show you guys that card, right? That. Then of course, that's going to be affecting how you feel when you are alone. And so many of you are closing out this chapter, which is amazing that, you've been on this journey so long, you're learning to accept that there's nothing to be scared of when you're alone. And by no longer using, seeking, and finding things and avoiding your emotions, it allows you to understand, or to at least um, finally heal and close out this chapter in your life where you had a fear or anxiety about being alone, about being with your own thoughts, about feeling your own emotions. And so that's great to hear that this is either happening right now, that you're recognizing this, or that you're processing it and working through it right now, and that it'll be closed in the future. So, okay. And again, this comes down to that fated to be alone. So, this is no good ones. So, these are belief systems, right? That we were talking about, where you may have been so hurt, so wounded that you believed that there was nobody out there who was loving, who was kind, who was generous, who could reciprocate, who knew what love was or is. And so you may have had this belief system over the last while that may have actually been created from the situations that you experienced over the last year, 7 years, 14 years, take it as it resonates for you. But it looks like you are closing out the cycle by recognizing that that's simply not true. And these beliefs were coming from your wounded self, coming from the wounds that you are now closing out by closing out these relationship dynamics and healing your foundation, right? So that's awesome. You're also healing, and we talked about self-worth, right? So we've got unlovable here. So many of you in the collective are healing this solar plexus chakra here. I'll just move that. This solar plexus chakra here of feeling unworthy of love, feeling unlovable. And again, that comes from the experiences that we've had. If you have been abandoned, if you have an abandonment wound, or you've been rejected, or you've been treated as though you are unworthy of love. Maybe your reality's been denied, or your emotions have been denied, right? By people who aren't capable of seeing you, or perceiving you, or loving you, or aren't even connected to emotions in any way, shape, or form. These people have a tendency to shape these beliefs within us, right? But it's up to us to actually heal that within ourselves, and to love ourselves, and to bring that confidence of knowing that we are worthy of love, knowing that we are worthy and deserving of everything good, not just love, but of everything good. So it looks like this cycle is beginning to come to a close. Maybe you have more work to do on some of these cycles, but it does appear that this is what the collective as a whole is working on, is these kinds of cycles and patterns. And kind of, like I said, rebuilding your foundation with strength within yourself. And that's really what it comes down to, is finding your inner strength, no longer looking outside of yourself for all of these things, but really truly giving them to yourself. And that allows you to have faith in yourself as you repair these old patterns of seeking it from other sources. You repair those things and it builds your confidence. It heals those wounds within you and it heals your chakras. Ah, you're also healing the need to be rescued. So that's closing out. So many of you may have been looking for, or may have a pattern, I should say, of looking for a savior. And this can tie into this seeking and finding, right? Looking outside of yourself for validation, looking outside of yourself for someone to come and rescue you. And so it seems that many people in the collective right now are just finally like, okay, nobody is coming to rescue me. I self-sabotaged. I did this. You're taking responsibility, right? Taking responsibility, really seeing past all of the hurt and the emotions and seeing how you relying on anybody or anything outside of yourself, especially a rescuer or a hero or a Prince Charming or a princess, right? Take it as it fits for you, gender wise. But whoever it is or whatever pattern you've had around needing to be rescued kept you in that victim state, that state of victimization. And so it looks like people in the collective right now are starting to recognize that. So maybe that is your pattern. But it looks like you're working on it, or you are working on it, or you're being asked to work on it. Again, this can relate to any of those three things that I just said. You may need to work on it, or you've already worked on it and it's closing out, or you are currently in the middle of doing that, right? So that's awesome. And that to me says independence. You are working on your own independence. You are working on creating your own stability, which is your foundation again. So this seems like a lot of stuff, but these patterns often tie in to one another, right? Like if you talk about codependency, codependency has many of these things all tied up together, right? Or if you look at attachment styles and how you were raised, and then the relationships that you develop later on because of that, a lot of these patterns can tie right into that too. So as a collective, we're recognizing how intricately these patterns tie into one another and how really doing the deeper healing in one aspect does begin to heal other things, but we do need to recognize what all of the patterns are that contribute to our own pattern of self-sabotage, right? And self-sabotage could be just even believing that we're not lovable, or believing that there's no good ones out there, or believing that we are fated to be alone. And of course, these things come from our woundedness. So awesome. Okay. And then we've got settling. Yeah, collective. That's what I want to hear. You're not settling for anything less than you deserve. No more settling. No more people coming in, no more jobs, no more situations that aren't to your standard. That is self-love. You're no longer settling for anything less than you expect and deserve. And you should have high standards. If somebody cannot meet your high standards, that's their problem, not yours, because eventually you will meet somebody who will be able to meet those standards and not breadcrumb you or not give you these mixed signals or play games or the silent treatment, right? Um, you're not going to tolerate ABUSE anymore. So you're also not going to settle for less than you deserve in any way, shape, or form in any part of your life. And that goes with not only from others and from jobs and from environments, but from yourself too. So it looks like this idea of accepting what is. I'm hearing, oh yeah, okay. I'm hearing belief systems around believing that because of what's happening with the shakeup, there may be some beliefs around feeling as though I guess this is just what I deserve, or I guess um, this is my karma, or what else, Spirit? This is all there is. um, yeah, so there's some belief systems around that, and you're choosing right now by seeing those things. You're you're choosing to see beyond the hurt that is causing these behaviors or these thoughts or these feelings to rise up within you. And if you're not, then you're being asked to do that and not settle for anything less because you deserve so much more than whatever circumstance you find yourself in at the moment that is causing chaos, that is causing you to feel lack, that is causing your confidence to be shaken or your foundation to be shaken. You deserve more. And so, this idea of not settling for anything less is something that should become your mantra, right? Taking this on, like, no, absolutely not. I refuse that thought. I refuse that belief. And I deserve this and so much more. And that's what I'm going to get. So, not settling for anything less in any kind of situation in your life and making a clear decision, right? And then we've got getting hurt. So, how is it that we close out the cycle to getting hurt? I was actually thinking about something like this earlier today. It wasn't quite that, but I had some channeling coming in, so that's interesting that that comes up. I find it fascinating because the only way to prevent ourselves from getting hurt is by fully loving and trusting ourselves, right? Not looking outside of ourselves for answers or for validation, but instead, like even when you're watching something like this, the reason that I say use your discernment is because you want to listen to what's being told here, but only pick out the parts that actually resonate with yourself because that is your own intuition, that is your own inner guidance telling you, hey, this is our part of the story. This is what we're working on. This is true. This is not true. And it is your own inner compass that's allowing you to build faith within yourself, to build that trust within yourself. You are essentially becoming the person that um, that trusts fully in your own choices, your beliefs, who you are, how you choose to feel, how you honor yourself and your feelings. Um, this is how we, I mean, hurt is always going to be a part of life to some degree or another, but we can protect ourselves by loving ourselves and by not allowing other people to fully influence our decisions, right? Not giving our power away to external sources, um, not allowing the way that we choose to live our lives or who we believe we are to be swayed by popular belief or by society or by somebody that we love, right? But instead becoming the judge in our own lives and by protecting ourselves, right? So when people come in who maybe don't have our best interests at heart, who like to play these games, who like to manipulate, who like to use lack or fear against you, who like to find your wounds and project those towards you, then the only way that you're going to close out this cycle of, getting hurt and believing that there's no good ones out there is by actually giving all of these things to yourself, by loving yourself, by being your own judge, by not looking outside of yourself, by trusting, like gaining your own trust through each decision that you make is going to build your confidence. Even if it was a mistake, even if it doesn't turn out the way that you wanted, at least you were in the driver's seat of your own life, not fear, not anxiety, not stress. You're not giving that, You're not giving your power away over to anything else, right? And then that allows you to build momentum with yourself. And this is what, you know, helps you to close out this cycle is because then you trust yourself with regards to other people or with regards to life decisions or with regards to making decisions at all. You build that trust within yourself so that you can free yourself from this idea that you would ever allow anybody into your life again who's going to hurt you. Because by loving yourself and trusting yourself, then you know when these people come around, you can spot them. And you have full faith and trust in that. And that is a absolutely beautiful thing and a beautiful quality as a human being to embody and a lesson to learn, right? And so this might tie into this lesson itself, where you've had to learn this kind of the hard way. And you can prevent this, you can close out the cycle of getting hurt by no longer giving that power away to something outside of yourself. All right, I needed some water. Okay, Spirit, do you want me to continue with this deck? You're saying close it out. So, okay, I'm gonna get a few spirit messages, and then I'm gonna get a couple angel messages to close it out. Oh, that was fast. Didn't even get a chance to ask the question. No matter how much you are being tested or pushed right now, stand your ground and push back. Believe in your own integrity and self-worth so much that no one can get in your way. Have the confidence to move forward. You can and will do this. Absolutely. Yeah. So this is, you're being tested. Your faith is being tested. Your foundation's been shooken up for this very reason to show you how you've been giving your power away, how you have been outsourcing it to other things or other people around you. When a door doesn't open, don't waste your energy trying to make it open. It's closed for a reason. You're being redirected to something far bigger and better. Endings are part of the cycle of life. They make way for wonderful new beginnings and opportunities. Yeah. And again, this is tying into these relationships, right? And the hurt and the pain that that caused and the closing off of your heart and you know, it's not that this situation is happening to hurt you. You know, your guides, the divine, even yourself, you didn't mean to hurt yourself in this way or self-sabotage. You're just learning and part of that learning is also recognizing when we need to be extra compassionate with ourselves and forgive ourselves, maybe apologize to ourselves for doing that and, you know, find the compassion within ourselves um, to forgive ourselves for what it is that we did that may have created self-sabotage or may have let people in who have hurt us or, um, you know, yeah, there's a lot around that. But the doors to that are closing. And so we need to be I guess what I'm hearing is, yeah, just extra care and attention. It's important to give yourself extra care and attention right now and soothe that heart of yours because it won't last forever. And even though this feels like a difficult trial or a difficult test or obstacle to go through, it will soon be over and your heart is going to heal from this. Your life is about to start moving quickly in some areas. Events that seem to have been on hold suddenly propel forward. Move with the flow and be mindful of what needs your attention most. Make decisions rationally but sensibly. Okay. So again, because we're talking about cycles and endings of things, right? Once you're getting out of this feeling and you change your perception of what this is really about, then it's going to allow these old doors to close so that things can start picking up, right? And so you're being asked to really identify what it is in the story that is yours and to recognize it, to be super compassionate with yourself for making any mistakes that you may have made that you might need to forgive yourself for, working with yourself, closing out these cycles, and making that decision. Are you going to walk away at this point, or are you going to keep the faith? And the faith comes from within. We can't have faith in anything else if we don't have faith in ourselves. And that's part of this broken foundation, right? Your confidence is that when your faith is shaken, you really need to find that within yourself. And that could be a part of these patterns that has come up that needs to be addressed in order to move forward here. But it does look like these cycles are happening for you. Well, of course they're happening for you, but they're coming to a close and an end. So should start to get excited here. Maybe it does require a little more attention at this time and self-soothing, like I said, but I'm hearing the angel deck. But you've got it, and you've got the support backing you, even if you don't feel it. It's your confidence that's shaken. It's not the divine confidence that's shaken. They're still there. And so part of it is taking responsibility for the things that we may have done to create this situation. Because, of course, we are the ones manifesting our own reality, right? At all times. All right. So, angels, what message would you like to convey to the collective at this time, please? What messages would you like to share with the collective, please? Okay, 555, change, encouragement, support, obstacle, battle, calling, restructuring, creative work. You are going to level up. It might not feel good initially, but it will prepare you to handle the greater things in life for your highest good. That is why you've been looking, that is the why you've been looking for. Push through it. There's a reward waiting at the finish line. Yeah. So this is a test, right? In a sense, I hate using that word, but we don't really have a better word to describe that in our English language. But this obstacle is here to strengthen you for the next leg of your journey, right? And so it can be exhausting. It can be tiring, but if your foundation's not strong enough, then too many cards, Spirit. That's kind of the way it goes, right? But change is here. So you are in the midst of leveling up, and that's what this is. And maybe seeing it that way rather than an obstacle or a test might be a better way. You're leveling up, and so it comes with challenges for you to overcome so that you can demonstrate to the universe that you're ready to take on more responsibility, right? All right, angels, what else would you like to say to the collective? There we go. Oh, that's interesting. So just before I started filming this, before I sat down, I saw it was 1221, and this card is 2112. So both mirrored numbers. So this says it's up to you, someone watching over you, good fortune, unforeseen forces, direction. Even if it seems like you're not making any meaningful progress, things are moving in the right direction. If you see this number, it's a sign that everything will work out in your favor and your dreams will come true soon. So, like I was saying, the faith comes from within. first. So you might have been relying on your spirit team, or you might have been, and that's okay, because that's part of the learning process. They want us to rely on them and to create a connection between ourselves and our spirit team, as well as source, right? But once you reach a certain level, you realize that it all starts from within you. The seed is within you. And so um, to fully love, to fully trust, to fully accept, anything in our lives, to fully have anything outside of ourselves, we must first find that within. And that includes our spirit guides and source, right? Because the only connection that matters most in Earth School is the connection that we have with ourselves. And then through having that connection with ourselves, we automatically have that strength of connection with the divine, right? Because the divine is learning through our life experiences step by step. And so to truly allow the divine in, we have to have that space made within ourselves, that we already have that within ourselves, right? So you, as I said, you have spirit guides and spirit team around you whom you may not feel have been supporting you, or maybe guided you in the wrong direction, and maybe your trust has been shaken or your confidence has been shaken. But they are there to guide you, to help you into situations like that, not because they don't love you. That is their job in order to create these lessons. And despite how painful that is, they want you to know that they are watching over you, they are supporting you, they are giving you the tools and creating these situations in the background for you so that it illuminates what's still faulty in your own foundation, right? And so it might seem like, again, you're taking this step backwards, and that you've really made no progress because you're back here again, possibly, or you've repeated a cycle, I've heard. And it's not true, because each time that you went through that cycle, you collected a little more information, until eventually you have enough information to understand it all and close out that cycle. And so you are actually making progress. Everything that you've been doing has been meaningful, even if it seems insignificant to you. And they want you to know that they are helping you to achieve your dreams. And this is part of the direction, right? Part of the lesson is that they're really trying to illuminate that it comes from within you first. No trust can be broken with the divine as long as you don't break trust with yourself first, right? So maybe that's the thought pattern right now, is that you've been thinking that it maybe projecting it outwards towards your spirit team or to the universe or to the divine, your hurt and your pain around whatever destabilized you at this time. But this is a pattern within yourself. You broke trust with yourself because of whatever self-sabotaging behavior may have come up. And again, self-sabotaging behaviors doesn't even just have to be physical. It could be mentally, it could be emotionally, right? So what is it that is creating this, and where do you need to take responsibility and understand that they created the situation to help you, and that was something that was agreed upon before you even came here, right? And I'm not taking away from anybody's pain or situation, and the relevance of that situation, how difficult it might be. For each of us, it's going to be different. But they are doing this in order to help illuminate what's going on, what's faulty, right? So that your guides are always trying to get you to not the finish line, because we're never finished until we leave this planet, but to prosperity, to abundance, to a life of freedom, to liberation, right? They want you to be happy. And so Along the journey, unhappiness has to come in. Challenges need to come in so that we can actually build that foundation that would support all of that, right? Okay, Spirit, we'll get one more message here and then we're going to completely close it off for the day. Angels, what is your last message to the collective? Please and thank you. Oh, got a lot of cards jumping, but they're not really coming out. There we go. Okay, 0606, commitment. Loyalty, responsibility, truth, love, light, spiritual realm, growth, solutions. Applying honesty and light daily is a fast track to creating a peaceful and meaningful life. It's how you find solutions and comfort. Release worries by speaking your truth and expressing emotions regularly. Open up for the best is yet to come. All right, so yes, this we've already talked about that, but this is just kind of touching base on the fact that you know your commitment is being tested, your faith is being tested. Are you going to walk away now, or are you going to keep the faith that this was generated in order to help you, right? Not to hurt you, not to rock your foundation, not to destabilize you, but to show you where your weaknesses still are. Because once you level up, you're going to have um, different kinds of energies coming at you, stronger energies, right? And you have to be strong enough to face those as they come forward. And so this is really about reclaiming the understanding of what is your responsibility in this life and not projecting that onto other people. And who are you loyal to? Are you loyal to something or someone outside of yourself? Or are you loyal to yourself first and foremost? Yeah. So being honest with yourself, I think, is going to be really important going forward. And again, being extremely compassionate with yourself at this time because making mistakes, especially when we've repeated those mistakes, can be difficult, but that is how we all learn. Most of us, unless it's like something really scary, don't learn from the first time, or we don't learn everything we need to know, right? And sometimes we need to repeat them so we can gather more information. It's just the way it goes. And I don't mean to laugh at anybody's pain or their cycles because that's not at all what I mean. But I'm laughing at my own identification of my patterns that I've repeated, right, in my life. And I look at those often. I revisit that often in my mind. And I think, wow, like I had to really repeat that pattern for so long before I got it. But at the same time, I understand that's a part of my humanity. And there are days that we're all tested, including me, that, you know, I'm human too. So there are days where I feel tested, where my trust and faith has been tested as well. And you know, sometimes it's about understanding that, you know, we are all allowed to make mistakes, that we don't have to hold ourselves up to such a high standard, or maybe the society standards, or maybe standards that our family has placed on us, or a partner, that we're allowed to be imperfect just as we are, because that is perfection, right? Each individual as they are is complete and perfect. And so allowing yourself to release these emotions and these thoughts, and redefine your commitment to yourself is going to help you to redefine your commitment to your path and to the divine itself. And, you know, maybe you need to release some of that anxiety because this card talks about anxiety and worries and releasing that anxiety and that stress. And maybe you need to communicate that to your guides. Like maybe you need to communicate it to yourself that it's okay to make mistakes, that it's okay to repeat patterns. This is how you learn. That, you know, being compassionate with yourself again. Maybe you need to communicate what your fears and anxieties are to yourself, or talk to the part of yourself that is feeling that, or that is feeling destabilized. that is feeling unsafe, and give them that inner child of yourself, that hurt, wounded part of yourself from childhood where this was created. Give them the nurturing and the support and the love and the trust and the faith that they need. Give them the security that they need, and build that trust within yourself so that you're no longer looking outside of yourself to someone to give you the answers, right? Yeah. So hopefully this helps. If you did like this video, if it did resonate with you, feel free to give it a thumbs up. It does help the algorithm out. If you'd like to leave a comment, feel free. It does help me to channel into your specific energies, but you're not obligated in any way, shape, or form. Just because this is an energy exchange, that does help, as this is not a one-on-one message. So yeah, if you're wanting messages that are more attuned to your specific life and your energy, then feel free. Otherwise, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to our beautiful community of light. And I will see you in the next video on, what day is it today? It's Tuesday. On Thursday. All right, guys. I love you very much. Have a great day.